Hello lovely Stitchy friends, I'm Kat and I'm delighted to welcome you to my channel Catkin and Lily, where we talk all things cross stitch. If you're new here then I really hope you'll enjoy seeing my cross stitch updates, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much as always for coming back to spend a little bit more time with me. So today is a FlossTube episode, so we're catching up with everything that's been going on in my Stitchy world for the last couple of weeks. It's episode 29 and it's the 21st of August. It really seems like only yesterday almost that I was sitting here and chatting to you, but it was 2 weeks ago. And I am finally breaking the mould for this episode, and I actually have a finish. No, I have two finishes to share with you, which is super exciting. My last finish, I think, was back in May, which I guess actually isn't all that long ago, but it does feel like ages. So yeah, really happy to finally have some finishes to share with you. I don't have any new starts, so I guess that does mean I've got the whip count down just a little bit, which is great. I have, of course, some new stash to share with you, just a little bit of new stash. And as I say, lots of whip juggling still going on, still have a fairly high whip count despite those couple of finishes, so I think I have 9 projects to share with you as well. But before we get to all of that stitching, I thought it might be fun to have a section that I don't really know what to call. I was going to call it show and tell, but to be fair, that's pretty much what floss tubes are. So I'm not sure I can have just this section be show and tell, but I don't know. Otherwise, it's just Kat's random Stitchy related thoughts, things to show you. I don't know. It's just going to be a collection of fun things that I've come across or something that I wanted to share with you. It might be an FFO from the past or just my random thoughts on something that's come up. So today I have a photo to share with you, and my dad sent this to me a couple of weeks ago, and as soon as I saw it I thought I was going to have to share this with you really. He knew I probably would want to share it, and I hope you might find it as amusing as I did. So as he put it when he sent it to me, he said this photo is the earliest evidence that he could find of me doing anything remotely cross-stitch related. Now, just to give you a bit of context before I put the photo up for you, I know I'm keeping you in suspense here. This is from January 1982, so I would have been coming up on 3 years old. And here it is. There's a lot to love about this photo, I think, a lot that makes me laugh. So I know what you're thinking. Those slippers, right? Yes, and the chubby face. And yes, my hair was a little bit more curly when I was little. And I'm pretty sure I remember this board and those plastic laces that you could thread through. So I thought I'd share that with you, and perhaps if you have any really early memories of anything Stitchy related, then do share them with me in the comments. I would love to hear about that. Okay, so that's my little cross-stitch related show and tell, and I guess we better get into some stitching. And we've got to start with those finishes. So the first one I have to share for you is Frog by Hoops and Crosses. So of course I'll put the information panel up for you before I show him to you so you can see all the details of the project, and these info panels will be up for all the projects that I'm talking about. So if you want to know anything about the project, fabric I was using, all that good stuff, then check over on the panels. And I started this guy on the 15th of June. I'm going to check my dates here, and I finished him on the 8th of August. So wasn't stitching him for too long. He's quite a small design, fairly quick and easy to finish. And I will put up the picture of where it was when you saw it a couple of weeks ago, so you can see that I still had most of the red stripe to finish at the top of the rainbow and the back stitch. But since this is a finish, I have of course brought it in real life to show you here. I'm not going to leave you with just a picture of this one, it's too good. I have brought it to share with you. So here he is, in all his froggy glory. Look at that. I'll bring him in so you can see and get him as close as I can. Look at that. Yay! My fabulous and naughty sweary frog. Yes, I'm sure a lot of you, as you've been saying, will find his expression and the saying pretty relatable. Now, someone did warn me in the comments that they had stitched this and that the back stitch was quite fiddly, and yeah, they were not wrong. It was quite fiddly. There were stitches that went to kind of halfway along squares, ones that went right into the middle of stitches, which is always a little bit annoying, but actually it really wasn't too bad to do. And I actually used one strand instead of the called for 2 strands, which actually I do think that makes it a little bit easier. And I also, as I always do, I dropped my needle size. So on 28 count, I was using a size 26 needle to stitch with, and I swapped to a 28 for the back stitch. And yeah, between using one strand and a smaller needle, it actually wasn't too bad. And I've done it as a mix of back stitch, but also quite long stitches. I'll see if I can show you. I'll bring it back, you might be able to see a lot of the lettering in here. I've done these as long stitches rather than back stitch because I just felt it was going to look neater. And I'm pretty pleased. Even the French knots turned out pretty nice. But actually, I don't mind a French knot. I know, shock horror. So I'm really pleased to have finished this. And I was thinking about it, and I think what I've loved most about this is it was just so joyful. There's beautiful rainbow colours, his happy but slightly bemused little expression, and I'm really happy with the fabric that I picked. I think there's a touch of sparkle in there, just, yeah, is lovely. So really enjoyed stitching it. If I had to pick any things that I loved least about it, I'd probably say just the long rows. They're not always the most exciting to stitch. But then I was using this as a work stitch and it did make it really easy. So there was a definite upside to those long rows as well. So all in all, really happy with that. I think the coverage turned out really nice on the 28 count. Now the only thing is, as I've shown him to you here today, he has not been ironed yet, I have to confess. And I wasn't going to wash him because it's hand-dyed fabric. But I do think those stitches, when you wash a project, the stitches do just plump up nicely. So I might give him a really quick little dunk just to plump up those stitches. I don't think if I do it in basically cold water, just to give him a little plumpening, I think that'll probably be fine. So I'll probably give him a dunk, give him an iron, and then the plan is to finish him in a hoop. So I should be able to do that fairly quickly. Although, yeah, still have to get round to actually doing it. And since he's not FFO'd yet, that means I get to bring him back and show him to you again when he is actually FFO'd, so fully finished object. And then when he's finished, the plan is to put him up in the craft room / office, so both lovely husband Dr. Tim and myself can enjoy him. So I said I had 2 FFOs, and the second one is Woodland Fox, which a lot of you know I finished because this was my own design that I was test stitching, and I finished him up. I don't quite know when I started him, but I finished him on the 13th of August, just in time to release the pattern for sale on the 14th of August. And I'm so delighted that quite a few of you or various other people, I know some of you guys, have bought him, and I really hope you're going to love stitching him. And, well, I better show you what he looks like finished. So here he is. You might already have seen him. I think he is super cute. Really happy with how it turned out. Love those little mushrooms. Yeah. I was, so delighted with how that turned out. And of course that came out with the, sort of in combination with the blended threads video that I did last week as well on how to use blended threads, because he has got blended threads in him. So he has been ironed, but obviously, yes, also not FFO'd, so I will probably try and get to that. I'm thinking some kind of papercraft finish for him, so I'll probably make him up on some kind of board covered with papers, pretty pattern papers and bits and pieces that could be displayed on an easel. So another one, you might see him back again when he's FFO'd. So that means we can get into the whips. And as I say, there's still a few to get through. And we're starting off with Wildflower Wreath, which is a kit by Dimensions. And this was my very oldest whip. I say most of my whips, so that's works in progress, have been started since September last year. This one is the golden oldie of the bunch from somewhere around 2018. and it's in the final home stretch, I think. I had it out to work on it for 5 days in June as a whip go call, and it was called again for 5 days in August, and it's now had, well, actually it's just into day 4. I've been stitching on it this morning. So here's where it was last time. I didn't have a huge amount left to go of the actual stitching, and that means that by day 3 of its 5 in August, I actually managed to finish all of the cross stitching, which is super exciting, and means I just had a couple days left then that were basically just going to be trying to get all the back stitch done. And I have made a start on it with this fairly epic bit of red back stitching. Goodness me, I was stitching that this morning, and yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I could even have missed some bits in there because it's quite detailed, but you'd never know, so it's fine anyway. Now, a lot of the other back stitching that you can see on here was done way back when I started the project in whenever it was, 2018. So a lot of this was already on here when I picked it back up this year, but there's still quite a bit to go. And I was pretty confident I could finish it in the 2 days, although given how long it took me to do just that bit of red back stitching this morning, I don't know, it's quite detailed. And I think there's some French knots to go in there, so yeah, I'm definitely going to try to finish it. It would be really lovely to come back in 2 weeks' time and show you that I finished that one. So I'm going to do my very best. To be honest, even if it ends up needing more than the 2 days that I've got scheduled for it, I think I'll just finish it because it would be really silly to leave it at that point, wouldn't it? So, fingers crossed, that one will be a finish next time round. Next up is a fan favourite, and it's Chromatic Dragon. So many of you absolutely love this project, as I do too. And after my epic whip go goal of putting in 5,000 stitches for July, it just kind of went back to 1 day a week, but I've still done a decent amount. And last time you saw it, I was over towards the right hand side. I'd been alternating between working some of the dark stitches and then the aqua area. And I said I thought I'd do a bit of a move around for the next session, and I did. I moved all the way back over to the left-hand side, so I haven't done anything. Don't look at the right side of the picture, there's nothing going on over there from when you saw it last time. It's all over the left-hand side, and this is what I've done. So I've pulled out all of that area, pulled and worked down on that left-hand side, all those beautiful colours. There's a bit of confetti in there, but there's actually probably more than it looks like. There's actually a decent bit in there that's actually chunks and stripes of stitching, so I think it's not as confetti heavy as it looks like, which is probably why I have managed to do a decent amount. And I've enjoyed working into all those sort of pinky, purpley colours. That's been a lot of fun. And let me just check for you. That is now 50,882 stitches. So I've made it over the 50,000 stitch mark, which is fantastic. And that's 24.31%. So I'm heading up towards my 25%, which is incredible. And in fact, actually, down that left-hand side, a few stitches up from the last couple that I've done there, is actually halfway down the left-hand side. So I have reached there, obviously. There's a lot more below that as well, but quite nice to have reached that point. I'm really happy with the progress on this, even if I'm just back to 1 day a week, and it's been really fun to move back over to the other side and get some stitching in there. I will have to go back over and do some of the dark stitching over on the right-hand side as well. I can't avoid that, and I don't want to leave it all to the end, but for now, I'm kind of just enjoying being in a nice, fun, colourful bit. On to the next one, and it's Fancy Lady Time with The Winter's Gift by Joan Elliott. Now, this one you did see a couple of weeks ago, and although it was a project that was sort of on timeout from the end of February, I put it on timeout and wasn't going to pick it back up again until about November time, I actually did have it in on a whip go call. So it got called to do 5 days, and it's had its 5 days. So last time you saw, I'd done a couple of days on it, and I'd been working on the stripy area of the dress. And I was really hoping I could maybe get a lot of that dress finished, and I have. I'm so happy with how much I got done. I've finished all that stripy area. I've got all that red area done on the other side. I've moved over, I've done that beautiful green ribbon, which is so much fun to stitch. I loved doing that. And then I've sort of stitched myself into a corner, but I haven't really. It's not too bad, but I have missed a chunk of red at the top of that section because I really wanted to get up and stitch the fox's tail. So that's what that lovely white bit is at the top that you can see. That is the tail of the Arctic fox, I guess it is. And I was so excited to get in and stitch that tail that I thought I'd go back and finish the red afterwards, and then it ran out of its 5 days. So that's going to have to wait till next time. And it was really fun to look at the picture after I'd stitched all of this. I was looking at the picture and realising that I really have done a good amount of this. There's obviously still quite a lot to go, but so much less than what I've stitched already. I don't have stats on any of my projects apart from Chromatic Dragon, but yeah, it really feels like there's a lot less to go than what I've already stitched on this one. But sadly, she will have to wait now until November, maybe October, if I can't quite wait that long. But kind of going to wait till winter time now to pick her back up again. And then I would love to have her actually finished by the end of winter. So I guess maybe by the end of February 2025. That would definitely be the aim. Next up is Wonders of the James Webb Space Telescope by Climbing Goat Designs. So this is a stitch along, and one you didn't see a couple of weeks ago. I normally do have it pretty much every video, but I sort of fell off the wagon with it a little bit. But I'm back on the wagon, and yeah, I feel like I've been more galvanised to actually work on it because another part's come out. We're up 7 parts out. And there was something about just seeing how many pictures there were, seeing that picture up there of all of the little images and how well it's all working together that was really inspiring me to get back to this. So last time I did show you, so that would have been 4 weeks ago, I was working simultaneously on 2 of the pictures. I was working on the Tarantula Nebula, which was a lot of confetti, and then also on the other picture, I can't even remember what it is, but there's almost entirely black stitches. And this is where I am at now, and it's sort of more of the same, but the black stitching has definitely progressed quite a bit. I'm well up over halfway on that now, so I am getting there. And over on the Tarantula Nebula, it's actually very nearly finished. I'm pretty sure maybe in the next session or 2, because I don't stitch on it for very long at a time, I think I'll be finished with that picture really soon. So that'll be great. And I have plenty of other pictures to decide which one to stitch next. I don't necessarily have to keep it in the order of the parts that came out. And in fact, part 8 will be out this weekend, I think. So as I say, so far behind, but that's actually really nice so that I can pick which picture I want to work on next. I've got lots of choice there. This next one was actually a little bit of a surprise for me because it's Gaia the Earth Goddess, and I hadn't actually planned to work on her particularly. I have plans to work on her at the end of this month. Definitely got a couple of days scheduled to work on her, but I decided that I would take her to my Stitchy retreat day, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I got a day to work on her, and it was a nice project to have there because I think she's a really nice one for people to see. They really enjoyed seeing her, I think. And in fact, the last time I worked on her was actually my holiday in June. I think. I'm pretty sure that's the last time I worked on her. That's ridiculous. Because I'm also working on her at the same time as Andrew the Runner Stitcher and Emma from Emma Bobbins, who both of them making such lovely progress as well. And yeah, so I really did want to get to work on her. So here she was from last time, whenever that might have been, and I had I'd started doing a little bit of work onto that green cape, and while I was at the retreat I picked to carry on the orange on the dress because I thought that would probably be about the easiest thing to carry on working on. So I've worked on the orange of the dress, all up that kind of right hand side. And I actually carried on working on her when I got home in the evening as well, and that's when I put in some more stitches on the green section as well. Now you will see I have left quite a lot of gaps. I have been stitching the metallic as I've been going, but on this occasion I did actually leave those gaps to fill in. There's a lot of beads to go in there as well, but I do need to have a little bit of a metallic session and fill in what will basically be these nice metallic stitched flowers on the dress. So I think I probably do need to pop that in maybe next time I pick her up. So a very nice surprise to pick her up and get to stitch on her for a day. And as I say, I am going to be stitching on her for another, at least a couple of days towards the end of August. So yeah, that's going to be fantastic. And I will look forward to showing her to you again next time round. The next whip I have for you is the Deadly Aquarium Stitch Along by Lola Crow. And this one, I can't believe it, is almost coming to an end. We've actually had, we've had 11 exhibits come out. So the frame in the first part, 11 exhibits, which means there's only 2 more to go. So you can see from the picture, there's so much going on in this now. It's such a beautiful design. And yeah, there's not as much going on in mine. Here's where it was last time you saw it, which I was working on that big chunk of pattern, the big sort of cave area with all the beautiful coloured coral. And I'd done, well, I said I'd done the anglerfish last time. He actually didn't have his little light. It hadn't been stitched, which it is now. And I've finished I think it's a needle-nosed ghost shark. I think that's what it is. I can't actually remember now. But I've stitched that at the top of the cave, finished all of the cave. So there's just a little bit of coral to go on the top of the cave, and then that chunk is actually all finished. And last time I think I'd made a start on the eagle ray up at the top because I was so excited to stitch it, but it wasn't quite finished, and I have now finished that as well. And I've worked some on the scroll work on the frame on that left hand side, but I'm not sure, that might have been in last time you saw it, but I can't actually remember. So there is still loads more for me to stitch on here. The last couple of exhibits that came out were parts of the Don't Touch pool, which is full of really lovely, colourful little things, and I can't wait to stitch that. But yeah, there's loads on here still to go, and as I said, only 2 more parts left. So I guess at least once it's out and it's all the parts are released, I will just carry on working on it and stitching whatever bit takes my fancy. Now the Deadly Aquarium is usually followed by the Arctic Animal Stitch Along from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, but I don't have that one to share for you because I was focusing on the Deadly Aquarium and I haven't started in on part 4, the puffins. I haven't started in on that yet, so I will definitely have that to show you next time. But I do have another stitch along. I seem to have quite a few at the moment. I have the Happy Halloween stitch along from the Historical Sampler Company. And this one is all out. The last part, part 4, came out just a couple of days ago. And yeah, I've got a bit to go to finish this one up. So last time you saw it, I'd been trying to finish up part 2, I think, the last time you saw it, a couple of weeks ago. And part 3 had just come out at that point, but I hadn't really even started in on part 3. And now, so part 3, parts 1 and 2 was the top 2 sections, so the top half of that. Part 3 was the bottom left-hand corner, and I have now at least finished the little witch that's down in that corner there. She is very cute. I've been stitching that most recently. The cauldron above that's all finished. I had half of that done, just the little sort of swirly bits out the top of the cauldron, but actually put the cauldron in. I've put in the little ghost that's next to the happy, well, not the Happy Halloween, I have a Happy Ha and a little ghost. And I tried to put in a little bit more of the border elements as well, particularly down that left-hand side. I was trying to finish up doing some of that border, or as Sherry from Just So Sherry would say, I have been eating my vegetables. Because I am always tempted. I want to do the fun stuff, do the cute little motifs, and yeah, you've got to get in and do those borders. Now you'll see I've I actually deliberately started leaving out a lot of the little orange and black stitches that go in between the blocks of 4 white stitches that are in between all the boxes. I put some of those in, as you can see up in the top left hand corner, but I stopped because I had a thought, and that thought was beads would look really nice for some of those stitches. Either the orange or the black or both. I'm kind of leaning towards replacing the black stitches with beads. And yes, I know what you're thinking, me and beads. Well, I don't have the best history with beads. It does tend to derail a project very slightly. But I do think it would look nice. So I'm not going to hold myself to that, but I might try it. And beads or otherwise, I've still got plenty more stitching to go on this one. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be pushing on that one because again, it's all out now. So this could be a finish soon. But if I say that about too many things, I can't be finishing everything all at once. But hopefully not too long for this one. The next one I have for you is Christmas Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And this pattern is also being stitched by Sherry from Just So Sherry and also by Rachel, the Talking Dog Stitcher. So if you want to see some other stitches stitching this on different fabrics and with different threads perhaps, then I would definitely check them out, and their floss tubes are amazing as well. So this is what mine was looking like, and I have, as you can see, started from the bottom. The other ladies stitching this have started, I think, from the top. So if you want to see something different as well, then go and check theirs out. And I also took this project to my Stitchy day. So I stitched on Gaia in the morning and I stitched on this one in the afternoon. And then I also did a couple of evenings on it for Merry Monday. So this is what I managed to get done. I managed to finish up, well, pretty much all of that second section with the snowman on the little sled and the text and the cute little tree. That is all done, apart from, obviously my snowman is looking a little bit faceless. So he does have, I think, just a backstitch nose and a French knot eye maybe to go on there. So I should probably put that in because he looks a little bit weird without. But I ignore that. I just moved straight on up to the next section, which is going to say joy, and the O is a beautiful little wreath. So I started on that. Again, I'm still loving this variegated red thread. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, sadly, I might not get to work on this one for a little bit because I was also working on trying to finish the Jingle Bells stitch along from the Historical Sampler Company. So I showed you that 2 weeks ago. And I'd really like to get that one finished before this year's stitch along starts. So I think that will need to be a focus for my Christmas stitching. So I think Christmas Rules is going to have to go away for a little bit just while I try and focus on the Jingle Bells stitch along. But that's fine. I'm not necessarily hung up on trying to finish this year. It might be something that I'm continuing to stitch during the Christmas period this year. That might be quite nice. I do like to have Christmas stitching that I'm doing around Christmas time, so that would be fine. And last but very much not least is When Life Gives You Lemons by Stitch Ravia. So this is the design that Mum and I are stitching together, and we have both been having so much fun stitching this. I think last time I showed you I had, where was I? I can't remember if I'd actually finished that. Yes, I think I'd finished that nice glass of gin and tonic on the side, and I think I'd made a start on the tea. Well, I finished the tea, I finished the and, so I have and tea. So I just need the G, which is a pretty important part of a G&T, I would say. Oh, and I think I finished the lemon. I don't think I'd stitched that last time, so that lemon in the middle, I've done that one. The A over on the right hand side, that's all new. I stitched that and just made a start over on the left hand side, added in that leaf and the bottom of the glass of gin and tonic that's going to be over on that side to match the one on the right. And I have once again been eating my vegetables. I have done a lot more of the border, particularly over on just a bit over on the right hand side. I think I've definitely stitched a bit more of that. I'm trying to keep that going as I go, as I'm stitching the fun bit, stitch a bit of border as well. And I've just realised I better ask Mum for a picture of where she's at. She did send me one a few days ago. So I'll either put that in, or if she's got a more updated one, I might ask her for that. But when I saw it a few days ago, she had done so much. She's done all that beautiful, the banner at the top, and started into some of the scroll work. Oh, it's just looking fabulous. She is absolutely motoring with this. She said she's loving it so much that her other 2 whips, yes, she only has 3, her other 2 aren't getting a look in. She's just working on this one, and I totally get that because it is beautiful to stitch. And hopefully I might get a few more stitches in on this. Now it's my football project. So it'll probably have a day of the week to work on, and I'll be working on it when I'm watching any of the Liverpool football matches. So hopefully I can get lots done on that. So that is all the stitching to show you, but we've got plenty more good stuff to come. So stay tuned. Next up we have new stash. And the first thing I have to share is that Megan from Coffee Craft Fabrics had a Fabric Super Sunday where she drops lots of beautiful fabrics throughout the day. And it was even better. It was a Fabric Super Saturday and Super Sunday. So we had 2 days of amazing fabrics. I think there were 22 different colour choices across the 2 days, which is amazing. Actually, what's even more amazing is that I only bought 2 of them. That's pretty restrained for me. But of course I did still buy 2. So the first one was this beautiful blue colour. I've bought this here. Let me see if I can show you this. Gorgeous blue. It is slightly, it's showing pretty good on here, and it is very slightly, I would say purpley blue. It's absolutely gorgeous. Really stunning. Love that one. And the silly thing was, this was the first fabric that was dropped on the Saturday morning. And I saw it and I thought, oh, I really want to get that one. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is not good news, is it? The very first fabric that's dropped, and I'm saying yes, please. I did wonder what I was letting myself in for and how many I was going to end up with. But I actually didn't buy anything much else until, I don't know, this one. And I don't know when this was, somewhere on the Saturday or Sunday. And I've got this lovely greeny blue. This one's, I don't know how well it's going to show. Let me open it out a bit more and see. So you can see it's quite mottled. It's got areas down there that are a bit more mottled than the other parts. But it's really pretty, just sort of blues and well, it's more greens, sort of soft green colours with a little bit of blue mixed in. Really, really pretty. Both of those are 32 count even weave. And of course, I have no projects planned for these. I just thought they were gorgeous. Now, the other bit of new stash I have for you is some project bags, but I'm going to show you that later, so you'll see why. So next, I thought I would talk about my plans for the next couple of weeks. And of course, the first part of my planning is trying to catch up with whatever's going on with Whip Go. And so my August goals were 5 days on the Winter's Gift. That's done. And 5 days on Wildflower Wreath, which says on day 4. So I've only got 1 more to go. So that will be the August goals ticked off. And then we should have the September goals coming out fairly soon. I was looking at what's left on my board, and there's some fun stuff still to go on there. There's some Christmas goals, some fancy lady goals. Yeah, lots of good stuff on there that I'll be excited if it gets called. Other than that, we are still having Merry Monday, Fancy Lady Fridays and SAL Sundays. And in fact, I'm going to have not just Merry Monday on the next Monday because it's a bank holiday. So I'm having a mega Merry Monday because I will be at home all day. I won't have to work as I usually do on a Monday. And I'm going to do all the Christmas stitching. So yeah, I don't know if I said I wasn't going to touch Christmas rules. I still might not. I think Jingle Bells Stitch Along, that's going to get a really good run on that Monday. But I also have plans to go back to one I haven't touched for a little bit, and there could even be another finish in there. So watch this space next time. And other than that, I don't know. I think I'd quite like to focus on the Happy Halloween Stitch Along and maybe try and push that to a finish. I feel like I've said I've got quite a few that are pushing towards a finish, so I could be back with more finishes in 2 weeks' time. But other than that, it'll be stitching on sort of whatever I feel like. I do try and plan the week out a little bit in advance of what I'm going to stitch on, because honestly, I'm better with that if I've made a decision as to what I'm going to stitch ahead of time, then it does make it a little bit easier for me sometimes. So finally, that brings us to AUB, and there's really just one big item of any other business this time round, which is of course the Stitchy day that I had on the 11th of August at the Limes Hotel that was organised by the Birmingham UK Stitchers group, and it was amazing. I had such a good time. As I left the house to go, lovely husband Dr. Tim said, "Don't buy any fabric." So I said, "Okay, can I buy other stuff?" He said, "No." He was joking, of course, but it did make me laugh when I arrived at the retreat venue, walked into the room, put my stuff down, and as I did so, the lovely Jess, who is on Instagram as Cross Stitch Jess, had walked in and put on the table, she had some of her beautiful project bags for sale. So of course I had to go and have a look, and I bought one. So within 5 minutes of being at the retreat, I had bought something. So of course I had to send a picture to lovely husband Dr. Tim, who pretty much just rolled his eyes. So of course I have the beautiful project bag here to show you, and here we are. Here's the project bag. I'm going to bring it in so you can see this gorgeous, look at the cute little birdies and ladybirds, and as Jess does with this lovely diagonal zip, and actually I'm going to have to zip so I can show you the beautiful fabric on the inside. Look how beautifully that coordinates. I mean, that really sold it for me. That gorgeous pink. Yeah. I was in love with it already, and as soon as I saw that pink inside, that was it. It was a little bit of a hard choice because she did have some beautiful ones, but this one was definitely calling to me. So, done deal. So, having done my purchases, I could sit down and have a lovely time, and I did. I chatted to lots and lots of lovely people. I'm awful with names, so I am not going to try and mention anyone particularly, other than I will say hi to Lisa Marie, who we got to sit together. We had met really briefly at another day, and it was lovely this time to get to sit with her and chat. So yeah, had a wonderful time. And also had Jess of the project bags, was also on my table as well, so that was really lovely to chat to her. We had some other shopping opportunities there as well. We had Sharon, who had brought some stuff from her Betty Stitch Kits shop, which was fabulous. I did have a browse. I was very good and didn't buy anything. And we also had Luella's hand-dyed fabrics, which were gorgeous. I can't believe I actually managed to resist, to be honest. It was more that there wasn't very much in the 32 count that I love. Otherwise, I think it would have been a different story. And I have to say a huge thank you to Hilary and Sue for organising the day. You did such an amazing job. I think you might be watching this, so if you are, then yeah, just know that I had the best time. And they'd even organised little Stitchy gifts. Actually, I have it here to show you. We had a gift of a gorgeous little tin. Look at that. And inside the tin, we had, oh, this is going to fall off. Had a fabulous little pair of scissors, and this is so cute. Had a gorgeous little needle minder. So absolutely fabulous little gift that we had. And we also had another gift from Sharon from Betty Stitch Kits of this wonderful, technically it's a coaster, but like a button, and I think a few of us thought it was too nice to use as an actual coaster and might do something creative, maybe put some ribbon and hang it up somewhere. So yeah, I agree with that. I think it would be too nice. I wouldn't want to risk spilling my drink on it. And I actually won a prize on the raffle as well, which, funnily enough, turned out to be a choice of bag from Jess, a small bag. So I chose this one with these amazing toucan fabric. That is fabulous, and I love these. I love the diagonal zips. They're so unique, and look at the inside. How perfectly does it match? Oh, it's gorgeous, and I love those colours as well. So I am over the moon that I got 2 bags and I only had to pay for one of them. So thank you, Jess, for the beautiful bags. And I definitely recommend that you follow Jess. She is on Instagram as Cross Stitch Jess, and now also on FlossTube. Because I noticed that she's just dropped her very first FlossTube episode, and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm really excited to watch it. So do go and look for her here on FlossTube as well and see what she's been up to, because I'm willing to bet it's going to be amazing. So that's really all I have, just that one thing for AOB this week, but it was a very good thing. And I guess actually I'll give you a little heads up that my videos are probably going to move from Wednesday evenings to Thursday evenings, for reasons that may become apparent at some point, but yeah, just thought I'd give you the little heads up on that one. And that's a wrap on everything I have for you for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've been up to, and I hope you've perhaps got some of your own stitching done while you've been listening to me chat. I'll be back in what will seem like a blink of an eye, but will actually be 2 weeks' time with another FlossTube episode. And in between, I'm not 100% sure what I'll have for you, but I'm thinking it might actually be a stitch with me. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. If you've been enjoying all of this cross-stitch chat and all the tutorial videos and everything else that I've got going on, then please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single stitch. Thank you for watching. I'm wishing you so much happy stitching, and bye for now.